This case is a showdown over one of the most pressing issues in Britain today: sky-high energy bills. On one side, the opposition accuses the government of broken promises, pointing to a pledge of cutting bills by £300 that never materialized. Instead, they argue, bills have risen, pensioners have suffered, and taxpayers are left in the dark about where billions are really going. On the other side, the government insists its green energy strategy is the only path forward, promising long-term savings and independence from volatile gas markets. But here's the real question. Are families paying more today just to gamble on a cleaner tomorrow? Let's break this down.
I call the Shadow Minister, Joy Morrissey.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And may I thank the Minister for advance sight of her statement. On this, the warmest day of the year, what a delight it was to receive the Warm Homes discount update. But may I take this moment to thank the Minister. I know that she is a tireless champion for the people of Peckham and for the most vulnerable, and I thank her for all the work that she does behind the scenes for those causes. Now, exactly 1 year ago today, the Chancellor said, and I quote, "Great British Energy, a publicly owned energy company, will cut energy bills by up to £300. And what has happened since, Madam Deputy Speaker? Bills have not fallen by £300, as was promised so many times by the Prime Minister, the Chancellor, the Energy Secretary, and Labour MPs. In fact, bills have gone up by almost £300, the opposite of what they were all promised just a year ago. On top of this, they took the winter fuel payment from millions of pensioners through a cold winter. This announcement will provide support for some, but it is nothing more than a sticking plaster for the fact that this government's energy policy is making people colder and poorer. The Minister has not said a single word about this expansion and how it will be paid for. This is a £400 million commitment, and there was no detail in the government's press release nor the Minister's statement about how it will be funded. Will the Warm Homes discount still be funded by levies on everyone's energy bills? If so, this policy means that energy bills will increase for the majority of bill payers, yet the Minister did not say this in her statement. So can the Minister please inform the House whether she has asked her department to calculate how much levies on everyone's bills will increase by to pay for the $400 million of extra spending? If she has, will she tell the House so that our constituents know how much their bills are going to be increased by under this Labour government? The government's press release said that the expansion of the scheme will be offset by efficiency savings across the energy system. But we have no detail about what those efficiencies are or how much money will be saved. In fact, the system is becoming less efficient. NESO recently said that the cost of balancing the grid by paying wind farms to switch off when it's too windy increased by 10% to $2.7 billion a year, and they warned that this will triple to $8 billion a year by 2030, as this government rushes to build more wind farms and solar farms on agricultural land than ever before. That's what this government is delivering: more subsidies, more levies, more payments for wind farms to switch off, more tech imported from China, more costs to everyone's bills. So can the Minister share some proper detail with the House about exactly how much this will cost the British people? I suspect the answer will be a resounding no. This is a statement devoid of detail because it's simply designed to distract from the fact that this government's energy policy is in chaos and driving bills higher and higher. This is a government driven by ideology of net zero, not making energy bills lower for families across Britain. It is a government of broken promises.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I think the Honourable Lady has some cheek, given the last government's record on energy bills, where families across the country saw sky-high energy bills under their watch, where families across the country are still paying the price of that today. The idea that they could sit there and try and lecture us on energy bills is pretty rich. So let me take the questions directly. Yes, we are committed to reducing energy bills by £300. We've passed the legislation on Great British Energy. The institution is up and running. We are doing the job of driving down bills. We stand by that commitment. And the way that we will deliver it is absolutely that investment in clean power. What was very clear under their watch is that ultimately that reliance and dependence on global fossil fuel markets is what led to bills rising. We will not make that mistake, which is why we are investing record levels in renewables, and that is the way in which we will drive down costs in the system and drive down bills. And let me pick up this point, Madam Deputy Speaker. This is not about ideology. This is about families across the country. The status quo, it is not tenable. We do not think it is acceptable to have bills at the levels they are and leave families exposed. That is why we are taking action. On the very specific question about how this will be paid for, we are very, very clear. So the warm homes discount is paid.
This is where the clash heats up. The Shadow Minister has laid out a brutal critique. The £300 cut never happened. The winter fuel payment vanished for pensioners, and now a £400 million scheme expansion with zero clarity on who's footing the bill. Essentially, she's saying, this isn't relief, it's a shell game. If levies are added to everyone's energy bills, then most households could end up paying more so that others get discounts. Think about that. Are we robbing Peter to pay Paul? What do you think? Is this targeted support or just smoke and mirrors?
Paid for under the price cap, but we are very, very clear that we do not want to see other families' bills increase in order to pay for this. So what we have done is work with Ofgem. So for example, looking for savings within supplier operating costs, the debt allowance at the moment. Debt spiked under the energy crisis. That means all households are paying a bit on debt allowance. We're working with Ofgem in order to get that debt burden down, and we will use the savings in order to cover the cost of this. So we are very, very clear. Support for those who need it, protection for all households.
We now come to the second statement on warm home discount, and I come to Minister Farnborough.
With permission, Madam Deputy Speaker, I wish to make a statement about the action we're taking to cut energy bills for working families. 3 years on from the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which sent prices soaring, people up and down the country are still feeling the impacts of this. Everywhere I go in this job, and every person I speak to, I hear how wages which used to support families are being swallowed up by sky-high energy bills month after month after month. And the truth is that for as long as we remain dependent on gas and volatile global markets, British people will continue to pay the price, and we will continue to be held back as a country. That is why we are finally ending our exposure and our vulnerability by sprinting to clean, affordable energy, which is controlled by us. But, Madam Deputy Speaker, we know that in the meantime, we have to do everything that we can to support families who we know are under huge amounts of pressure with their energy bills. So today, we are setting out how we will help millions more households with their bills this winter by expanding the warm homes discount. Previously, around 3 million people received the 150 rebate off their energy bills, but millions of people living in homes not classified as hard to heat were excluded as a result of criteria introduced by the last government in 2022. We believe those criteria were unnecessary and unreliable. We believe it cannot be fair to have two families in almost exactly the same circumstances, with one receiving help and one not. This is something that has been repeatedly raised by consumers and their advocates since the changes were made in 2022, and I absolutely understand their concerns. This is why we are abolishing this restriction. So this winter, every single household where the bill payer receives a means-tested benefit will be eligible for the warm homes discount, which means a further 2.7 million low-income households will get this vital support. In total, more than 6 million households, 1 in 5 families in Britain, will get the help they need this winter. Now, this expansion will also help our goal to tackle fuel poverty, which is absolutely critical to the work that my department is doing. It will increase the number of fuel-poor households that receive support, with coverage improving from 30% under the current scheme to around 45%. In total, 1 in 6 million fuel-poor households will receive support. Now, I have met people on the front line of the energy bills crisis up and down the country. So I know for a fact that there are families out there right now breathing a sigh of relief, because this will help ease the huge amount of pressure that they are under with the cost of living. Now, one of the issues that is often raised with me is that families can miss out on the Warm Homes discount because the person who receives means-tested benefit is not named on the energy bill. In order to be eligible, the means-tested benefit recipient or their partner or legal appointee needs to be named on the energy bill. So I want to encourage all families who receive a means-tested benefit to check this, and if necessary, to contact their supplier. People need to ensure that the benefit recipient or their partner or their appointee is named on the bill before the Warm Homes discount qualifying date, which is the 24th of August. Now, at the same time, we are going further to put the energy market back in the service of working people, taking steps to restore confidence and faith in the energy market that we know has been shaken. As it stands, too many complaints against energy companies go resolved or take too long to fix, whether it's suppliers not responding quickly enough or failing to adjust direct debits when families use less energy. This produces a situation where consumers often do not access the compensation they are entitled to due to an overly complex complaint system. And this government is absolutely committed to standing up for consumers who have had a bad experience in the energy system. And we're working hard to ensure that the system works in the interest of consumers. We've already made real strides in improving conditions for customers. Following the Secretary of State's intervention and months of government work with the sector, Ofgem announced £18.6 million of compensation for victims of forced prepayment meters in May. And we will continue to go further. Madam Deputy Speaker, this is a government which is willing to use every tool in our arsenal to fight for working people. And by moving at speed to deliver clean power, with the spending review setting out the biggest investment in domestic clean energy industry in history, we will take back control of our energy system. We will do the job of protecting consumers. And that is why we are wasting absolutely no time in driving forward our clean energy mission in our first year. Ending the onshore wind ban, consenting more than 4 gigawatts of renewable energy, launching Great British Energy, funding a new golden era for nuclear, kick-starting carbon capture and hydrogen industries, investing £1 billion already to upgrade up to 300,000 homes, and £13.2 billion committed in the spending review to upgrade millions. This is how we rebuild our energy network and protect families across the country, by supporting more people who need our help this winter, by restoring confidence in a reformed energy market, and by bringing bills down for good with secure, reliable, clean energy. We will ensure that every family in this country has the security of a home they can afford to heat, now and in the future. And I commend the statement.
So what we've just witnessed is a fiery back and forth, accusations of broken promises, warnings about hidden levies, and a government doubling down on its green revolution. At the heart of it, families across Britain are caught in the middle, weighing short-term pain against the promise of long-term gain. Will clean energy investments actually lower bills, or will taxpayers keep absorbing the cost of transition? One thing's for sure, this debate is far from over. If you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdown.